Govinda Rama, Hare Krishna, Madana Mohana, Hare Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Hare Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Hare Govinda Rama, Hare Krishna, Madana Mohana, Hare Krishna, Hare Govinda Rama, Hare Krishna, Madana Mohana, Hare Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Hare Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Hare Govinda Rama, Hare Krishna, Madana Mohana, Hare Krishna, Hare Govinda Rama, Hare Krishna, Madana Mohana, Hare Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Hare Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Hare Govinda Rama, Hare Krishna, Madana Mohana, Hare Krishna, Hare Govinda Rama, Hare Krishna, Madana Mohana, Paramahamsa,
all of us struggle so hard to survive and to find and look for what will give us fulfillment. So now we will be guided and we will be entering this world of God's pleasure through hearing the pastimes, the eternal pastimes of Lord Krishna with his loving servant. How they relate to the Supreme Person, how they love the Supreme Person, activities they engage in, and austerities that they practice. Austerity means sacrifice. So we have this repulsion to sacrifice. Okay? But if you look closely, the living entity, us, we're active by nature. And if we are in this conditional world with a conditional consciousness, thinking we are the body, but the living entity who is eternally active, we will be trying to find what we think as fulfillment or survival in a direction that is futile, because that dimension is a different energy from us. So through God's mercy, through God's blessing, He gives us this opportunity, a choice, by giving us this message, activities He is engaging in eternally with His devotees. The sweetness, the refuge, the comfort we're longing for, if we apply the process of purification, which is the chanting of the Maha Mantra, we will be guided by our heart, by our longing to find shelter and refuge in the right direction, which is God's protection and God's pleasure. But don't worry about our situation now, because we are given this choice, not by just sentiment, but with wisdom. So I'll read here the pastimes of Bali Maharaj. Okay. So Srimad Bhagavatam is given to us through the descending process or parampara or the spiritual master. And we have this opportunity to read it, to understand it in English language, because our dear grandfather, spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, who is the life and soul of our Gurudev, opened the door through sound, through writing about the eternal pastimes of the Supreme Person, so we can have a taste of what life is. Because in our struggle, in a conditional state, what we taste is sensual pleasure, the urge of the mind, guided by the modes of material nature. So what the process is, connecting our heart, our life, so we can have this peaceful mind. So it's not anymore a struggle to control the mind, because when the heart is satiated and guided by God Himself in connection with sound, the chanting of the holy names, and the hearing of the pastimes of the Supreme Person, what we're longing for gets connected automatically. Because the transcendental sound enters this material ear and touches our heart. different individuals, who are still muddling in this material dimension. They're so immersed as what we can see, and they're just there. But there are individuals who for so long have been immersed in materialism, and they are feeling in their heart, when can I stop this? Because they're trying to squeeze happiness, fulfillment. They cannot stop, Unlike those who are so much immersed under the influence of material nature, the modes of material nature in their struggle for happiness, survival, in the wrong direction, they're just there, being the actor. But those who are actors and have experienced this emptiness, this pain, most of them are asking, when can I stop doing this? It's just like my spiritual master gives an example. You want to drink milk and you should get it from someone, for example, goat's milk. And you're trying to get milk from a male goat because the male goat has tether on his neck, okay? And you're trying to squeeze milk, but because that goat is male, no milk will come, okay? No matter what you do. And you're wanting to drink milk. And then you ask, when can I get it? So, in this age of Kali Yuga, quarrel and confusion, we're given this opportunity that purification does not come from our own endeavor, but rather from the opportunity that comes through God's mercy. The light, when there is light, there is no darkness. So those who came in contact with the teachings of Parampara, when they follow the process, immediately all what they're trying to stop in their search for happiness where there is none, immediately it's like the fire just dwindled. It's gone. And then they are in the direction now that connects their heart, their whole being with what is sweet. And what is sweet is your relationship with the Supreme Person, not guided by the modes of material nature through the mind, because the intelligence becomes purified. And now you're able to see, not by your own endeavor, but by the wisdom through hearing the message of God Himself. So God relates to us heart through heart with someone who loves Him. Just like most of the girls, they have this girls talk that you can, if there's a clique of girls, they have this girls talk. You cannot enter that world because it's very confidential with them. Okay? They have this clique. Okay? So it's also like that. To enter that confidential world, then we must follow the instruction, the path of the disciplic succession. So, I'll give you, because we are brought up in a Christian country, okay? So when Jesus tells us, to enter the kingdom of God, you must become like children. Okay? So I'll read here the pastimes of Bali Maharaj. So to show us the eternal pastimes of the Supreme Person. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, so I like to recap, Sukadev Goswami is our spiritual master, our instructing spiritual master who taught Maharaj Pariksit. So Maharaj Pariksit is an emperor. He has 7 days to live and he knows it. So he addressed this situation, what is coming, that in 7 days, what will he do? What is valuable? What is relevant? Okay. So what he did was, he left his kingdom, his beautiful queens, okay, his army, everything, and sat down and listened to Sukadev Goswami for 7 days and for 7 nights. Okay. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, O King Pariksit, when Bali Maharaj was thus advised by spiritual master Sukra Acharya, His family priest, he remained silent for some time. And then after a full deliberation, he replied to his spiritual master as follows. Okay. Because Lord Vamana, Lord Krishna appeared to protect and save Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj said, as you have already stated, the principle of religion that does not hinder one's economic development, sense gratification, fame, means of livelihood, is the real occupational duty of a householder. I also think that this religious principle is correct. I am the grandson of Maharaj Prahlad. How can I withdraw my promise because of greed for money when I have already said that I shall give this land? How can I behave like an ordinary cheater, especially towards a Brahmana? There is nothing more sinful than untruthfulness. Because of this, Mother Earth once said, I can bear any heavy thing except a person who is a liar. I do not fear hell, poverty, an ocean of distress, fall down from my position, or even death itself, as much as I fear cheating a Brahmana. My Lord, you can also see that all material opulence of this world are certainly separated from their possessor at death. Therefore, if a Brahmanadev is not satisfied by whatever gifts one is given, why not please him with riches one is destined to lose at death? Okay, I read this again. My Lord, you can see that all material opulence of this world are certainly separated from their possessor at death. Therefore, if a Brahmanadev is not satisfied by whatever gifts one is given, why not please him with the riches one is destined to lose at death? Dadichi, Sibi, and many other great personalities were willing to sacrifice even their lives for the benefit of the people in general. This is evidence of history. So why not give up this insignificant land? What is the serious consideration against it? O best of the Brahmanas, certainly the great demoniac kings who were never reluctant to fight enjoyed this world. But in due course of time, everything they had was taken away, except their reputation, by which they continue to exist. In other words, one should try to achieve a good reputation instead of anything else. O best of the Brahmanas, many men have laid down their lives on the battlefield, being unafraid of fighting. But rarely has one gotten the chance to give his accumulated wealth faithfully to a saintly person who creates holy places. Okay. So, our Gurudev planted the seed of bhakti in our heart. Okay. So, take care of what is very precious to you, your heart, our heart. Okay? And make it a holy place wherein we are always in meditation with the pleasure of Krishna, our love, connected with His love. So that is the potency of the pure loving servant. If we follow His instruction to chant the holy name, then this body becomes the temple of God. When the heart is connected, your life, our life is connected with this holy person who is a pure loving servant of God, then Krishna will be always with us, with our heart, with our meditation. So that is the effect of chanting the holy names. Okay? And the holy names comes from the lips of someone who is loving the Supreme Person, our Gurudev. So he lets us enter that world and then it becomes our life. So what is service to Krishna? What is devotional service? Our life. So you don't need to be speaking, you don't need to be doing anything, but if you give your heart, you will be a teacher by example, because by giving our heart, our love to Krishna, then our life will be all attractive to the Supreme Person, and our presence will give attractiveness to those who are longing for happiness. We become teacher by example because our lives becomes pleasing to Lord Krishna. Okay. Oh, best of the Brahmanas, men have laid down their lives on the battlefield, being unafraid of fighting. But rarely has one gotten the chance to give his accumulated wealth faithfully to a saintly person who creates the holy place. Okay. So it is also concerning about our focus, our meditation. So if our focus is influenced by material consideration, okay, it will be the crucial point in our life, okay, that we can direct our meditation by following the heart, the love of the pure loving servant of Krishna. So we can enter that world of confidentiality, that wherein when we listen to the pastimes of Lord Krishna, we have this happiness, this attraction of the glories of Lord Krishna. And it's not about His power, but about His love, His compassion, His care. That's why, what is a pure devotee? Who is a pure devotee? It is someone who has pure, unalloyed, unflinching love for Krishna, the will of Krishna, simply pleasing Krishna. Then we look at ourselves, how we fall far short. Because in our conditional state, it is always this, what we want for ourselves. And then the rationale that I have the freedom to do what I want to serve Krishna. When we come to the point wherein we have no more desire to do our will, but to simply put our lives, our whole being, to do the will of God, then it is a very tall order, because at that point, you become free from all the burden that have entangled us. Because at that point, we're under that protection of God's love that is transcendental to this dead world. Because it's now a connection with the source of pleasure and happiness, the most lovable person, our eternal friend, Lord Krishna, Govinda, the giver of pleasure, Govinda. By giving charity, a benevolent and merciful person undoubtedly becomes even more auspicious, especially when he gives charity to person like your good self. Under the circumstances, I must give this little brahmachari whatever charity he wants from me. O great sage, great saintly person like you, being completely aware of Vedic principles for performing ritualistic ceremonies and yajna or sacrifice, worship Lord Vishnu in all circumstances. Therefore, whether that same Lord Vishnu has come here to give me all benediction or to punish me as an enemy, I must carry out his order and give him the request tract of land without hesitation. So, to recap, Lord Vamanadev appeared, okay, and visited Bali Maharaj because he'll be performing the Asmaveda sacrifice. So when he came, Bali Maharaj took care to put him, or to give him all the accolades, all the service intended to a saintly person. And when he asked, what is it that you desire, my dear Brahmana? I will give it to you. Just say so, whatever. I'll give it to you. And Lord Vamanadev said, I just want 3 steps of your land. And Bali Maharaj said, only this small paltry of 3 steps of land? I can give you everything. I'm the king of the universe. Okay? But anyway, that's what you wanted, so I'll give it to you. And immediately, Sukra Acharya, the spiritual master of the demons, tells Bali Maharaj, the person in front of you is Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you give him what he wants, what will happen is that you're gonna lose everything. But because, as what we have read, the heart, the life of Bali Maharaj is simply dovetailed with the pleasure of Krishna, the Supreme Person. Okay? He can lose everything just to have that relationship intact. Okay? Intact, ha? Although he is Vishnu himself, out of fear, he has covered himself in the form of a Brahmana to come to me begging. Under the circumstances, because he assumed the form of a Brahmana, even if he religiously arrests me or even kills me, I shall not retaliate, although he is my enemy. Okay. If this Brahmana really is Lord Vishnu, who is worshipped by the Vedic hymns, he would never give up his widespread reputation. Either he would lie down having been killed by me, or he will kill me in a fight. Sri Sukadev Goswami continued, therefore the spiritual master Sukracharya, being inspired by the Supreme Lord, cursed his exalted disciple Bali Maharaj, who was so magnanimous mapagbigay, and fixed in truthfulness, that instead of respecting his spiritual master's instruction, he wanted to disobey his order. So at the time that a person goes and misdirected his life and not follow the tenets of scripture and parampara, at that time you can make a decision not to follow that person, even though he is in a position of an exalted position. So the guide, the choice we should always follow, if this person will be following is guided by God Himself. Although you have no knowledge, you have become a so-called learned person. Yan ang sabi ng spiritual teacher niya. And therefore, you dare to be so impudent. Matigas ang ulo, hindi nakikinig. As to disobey my order. Because of disobeying me, you shall very soon be bereft of your opulence. Sukadev Goswami continued, even after being cursed in this way by his own spiritual master, Bali Maharaj, being a great personality, never deviated from his determination. Therefore, according to custom, he first offered water to Vamanadev and then offered him the gift of land he had promised. Bali Maharaj, the worshipper of Lord Vamanadev, jubilantly washed the Lord's lotus feet and then took the water on his head, for that water delivers the entire universe. At that time, the residents of the higher planetary system, namely the demigods, the Gandharvas, the Vijaharas, the Siddhas and Charanas, all being very pleased by Bali Maharaj, simply non-duplicitous act, non-duplistic, okay? Praised his qualities and showered upon him millions of flowers. So, I like to recall something that our spiritual master tells us. Wherever the holy names is chanted, guided, received, heard from the pure loving servants of Lord Krishna, Lord Nityananda is there. Okay? So whenever the Sankirtan movement or the chanting of the holy names is being performed by the devotees, the spiritual master dances and chants with them. Because the holy names is inseparable from the spiritual master. The Gandharvas, the Kimpurusas, and the Chinaras sounded thousands and thousands of kettle drums and trumpets again and again. They sang in great jubilation, declaring how exalted a person is Bali Maharaj, and what is a difficult task he has performed. Even though he knew that Lord Vishnu was on the side of his enemies, he nonetheless gave the Lord the entire 3 words in charity. The unlimited Supreme Personality of Godhead, who had assumed the form of Vamana, then began increasing in size, acting in terms of the material energy, until everything in the universe was within his body. So Lord Vamanadev expanded himself. Okay? Until everything in the universe was within his body, including the earth, the planetary system, and the sky, the direction, the various holes in the universe, and the seas, the ocean, the bird, the beasts, human beings, the demigods, and the great saintly person. Bali Maharaj, along with all the priests, acharyas, and members of the assembly, observed the Supreme Personality of Godhead, universal body, which was full of 6 opulence. The body contained everything within the universe, including the gross material elements, the senses, the sense object, the mind, intelligence, and false ego, the various kinds of living entities, and the action and reaction of the 3 modes of material nature. So, if we follow simply the instruction of our Gurudev, as what Lord Krishna tells us, approach someone who is his loving servant, listen from him, because the seer of the truth can show you the truth. So where there is light, there is no darkness. So coming in contact with Lord Krishna through the lips, through aura reception, then we enter the transcendental world of love and devotion, which we are always longing, which we are always searching in the wrong direction. This refuge we're longing and searching will be the connection wherein when we listen carefully and apply the process of Lord Krishna through following the instruction of his loving servant. Therefore, Bali Maharaj, who was occupying the seat of a king, King Indra, could see the lower planetary system, such as Rasatala, on the soles of the feet of the universal form. So Lord Krishna, Vamanadev, showed them the universal form. So Lord Bali Maharaj saw the lower planetary system, kasi this planet Earth belongs to the middle planetary system. The planetary middle means duality. There's night, there's daytime, there's poor, there's rich. Dualities, all dualities. You're happy now, after a while, you're now miserable. You're unhappy. Okay. Therefore, Bali Maharaj, who was occupying the seat of King Indra, could see the lower planetary system, such as Rasatala, on the soles of the feet of the universal form. He saw on the Lord's lotus feet the surface of the globe, and on the surface of his clouds and mountains, on his knees, the various birds, and in his thigh, the various air. So, Lord Krishna showed them the universal form. Bali Maharaj saw beneath the garments of the Lord, who acts wonderfully, the evening twilight. In the Lord's private parts, he saw the Prajapatis, or the progenitors. And on the round portion of his waist, he saw himself with his confidential associates. In the Lord's navel, he saw the sky, and the Lord's waist, he saw the 7th ocean, and on the Lord's bosom, he saw all the cluster of stars. O King, when all the demons, the followers of Bali Maharaj, saw the universal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who held everything within his body, when they saw in the Lord's hands his disc, known as Sudarsana Chakra, which generates intolerable heat, and when they heard the tumultuous sound of his bow, all of them caused lamentation within their heart. The Lord's conch shell, named Pankajana, which made sound like that of a cloud, the very forceful cloud, a club named Kaumadaki, the sword named Bijadara, with a shield decorated with hundreds of moon-like spots, and also Aksa Yaka, the best of the quivers. All of these appeared together to offer prayers to the Lord. So, Bhaktivedanta Swami in his purport, in the spiritual world, it's all living. The chairs, the trees, the plants, there's no matter their life. Okay. In the material world, we are attracted to this world, to these bodies, because we are attracted to life, but it's just misdirected, upon the body. So you can see that when someone leaves the body, the attraction to that forms, you are relating to that person, misdirected upon the body, and when the body breaks down, it's an illusion. Okay? Who gives you that vision? Who takes you away from that ignorance? It is the Supreme Purifier, the Holy Names. So we can direct our love, our life with our eternal world of pure, transcendental, loving service to the Supreme Person, what we're searching for. So, the reason we read the pastimes of Lord Krishna, because in the nectar of instruction, we should be guided, and we will be guided in the right direction if we follow someone who is a resident of the spiritual world, who is a saintly person, because the advice there, we must follow the footstep of the saintly person. And secondly, to understand the science of devotional service, we must come in contact and listen from someone who has unalloyed pure devotional service to the Supreme Person, so we can be guided by His love, with our heart, to appreciate this eternal world of the pure pleasure of the Supreme Person, devotional service, unalloyed devotional service, to enter that world. We are being allowed to enter that door, this confidential word. But we must follow the process of purification. That's why the spiritual master plants, is akin to planting the seed in our heart of bhakti, love. Because our heart has become so hard. We experience, due to conditioning, guided by the mode of passion, by the mode of goodness and ignorance, we're not able to appreciate the sweetness of love. We become burdened by this lust and anger, that we carry a load that has encumbered us, that has trampled us, and the spiritual master takes that load and connect us with our heart, our love. So our meditation now will be focused upon the source of happiness. So back to the point I'm trying to tell you, when a person is conditioned in this world and he engages in so many materialistic activities, then he comes to the point, there's nothing here, but how come I cannot stop? Okay? That is the question Arjuna asked Lord Krishna. My dear Krishna, my dear Lord, what is it that impels a man to do something as if by force, even though he doesn't want to do it? Okay? And Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, it is only lust that turns into wrath. Okay? What is lust all about? It is matinding pagnanasa. It is the perversion of our love directed upon this world. Very simple. We are looking for happiness, life, trying to find happiness in a different energy matter. And we're trying very hard in our struggle for survival. We want to survive. Nobody wants to not survive because it is inherent, inseparable from the soul, you, to always want to live. But the problem is we have been in this world of death that is transitory, illusion, and not eternal. It's continually moving. And our mind is focused upon that. So under the influence of the modes of passion, goodness, we are conditioned. Conditioned. So, Lord Chaitanya comes bringing us what will purify us and free us from this conditioning. And the spiritual master guides us with wisdom so we can now see that what propels us. And we come to the point, this crucial point, I want to stop, okay? I want to stop because the result, the pain we experience is really real and so deep. Like for example, a person who cannot control his genitals, the urge to find happiness through sensual enjoyment because the lust, the anger is directed to be able to experience it through the senses. Okay? What happened is if you have this STD or AIDS, and then you're there dying, with AIDS, and the pain is so much, but the urge will be there, and that urge which is a conditioning of the modes of passion, will always be there. But the vehicle cannot already perform, okay? You want to experience sensual enjoyment from an avenue or through your senses. But the body is already deteriorating. And like my friend, I have a friend who made his world, that to acquire so many material things, become wealthy, now he's in coma. He cannot move. What if you don't have this understanding? You have not lived a life of a focus upon what will give you fulfillment. And then you are desire-driven, and the conditioning is that you identify with the body and influenced by the mode of passion and ignorance or goodness. And then you're there. The desire, innumerable desire are there, but the body now cannot perform. Okay? You're dying. You have STD or AIDS. Okay? You know what's gonorrhea or syphilis? Okay? It infects your system. You cannot even pee because, of the pus and the blood. And gonorrhea affects your brain, you're getting crazy. And with all this bombardment of material desire in your mind, in your search for happiness, fulfillment, okay? You cannot do anything. Okay? And then you begin, why can I not stop? Okay? Because when we are so much immersed in lust, it's like you try to follow it through the senses. It's like scratching and scratching. It becomes easy. It's itchy. And the more you scratch, the more you scratch. What if the analogy is that you're itching, there's a fire or plus, and you pour gasoline? And what if your body now is decaying and dying? The vehicle for enjoyment is not anymore functionable. And you're blinded by the modes of material nature because of your desire to do your own will. Okay. But now we've been given this opportunity, this transcendental love. So when we speak about God, it's not anymore, God, please save me. It's not like that anymore. Because through hearing from someone who is a sweet, loving servant of the Supreme Person, our heart begins to glide towards that sweetness. Okay. So when a person is in this body now who lives a life of happiness and fulfillment under the direction of the Supreme Person, who is the giver of pleasure and protection. When your body is able, time will come, the body becomes feeble. You may be having this disease of the body, cancer, and it's painful, but it does not, although it's painful, it will not prevail to put you in a situation to take you away from what is very sweet in your life, your affection towards Lord Krishna. And that affection, you're feeling humbleness. You're feeling in your life, I have no love for you. But because you love me so much, I just wanted to please you. And that will be your focus. So those experience of coming in contact with the holy names, those individuals, for so long, they cannot stop the vices, you know. They cannot stop the senses. When they chanted, because they're thinking, most of us, when we have not come in contact with the holy names, we just in for a ride by Maya, okay? You're in the circus, okay? Like Pinocchio. You know Pinocchio? He goes to the circus, enjoy all the lollipops, you know? He doesn't know the repercussion. But those who have been in a situation for so long, and they find it, there's no life here, but how come I cannot stop? Or those individuals, kagaya nyo, you come here, then you think, maybe there's another world out there. And then you went out again to this dead world without this light, this wisdom, connection with the happiness you should be, your longing and to be connected. You think, wow, there's nothing here. Then you come back. And that is God's mercy to you. So my point is that those individuals who have been having a hard time, when they came in contact with the holy names, immediately all the vices stop. It's very hard to control, you know, smoking, okay? But those who chanted the holy names, immediately it's gone. The Supreme Purifier, the holy names, satiated their longing, their empty heart. And not only that, they are now with wisdom, with clarity of what is right and what is wrong. And what is right and what is wrong, it's about mundane knowledge and spiritual knowledge. And mundane knowledge is darkness and the science that distracts you, that separates you from what you're longing for. And then now in their struggle for survival, for happiness, with the wisdom, they are very fixed that yes, through applying this process, it's very effective because it connects me with the source of happiness. But that is an experience you will experience if you open that, you enter the door. Or like the spiritual master tells us, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. There's this cake. Last night we have this feast. There's this, you know, what's that? The Trina cook. Leche plan, okay? And it's there. I am telling you, know, it's sweet. And you're there. What's that? What's that? What's that? You have to taste it, okay? So from personal experience, you know, that we went through prior to chanting, we come to the point that, how can I get out of this mess? You know, every solution, every problem I face with a solution concocted by my mind, influenced by the mode of passion and ignorance and goodness, it doesn't bring me anywhere. It's like a maze. It's like a maze. I try to get out of that maze. Alam niyo yung maze? Di ba maraming paganon-ganon? You try to get out of that maze and it's burning. You want to get out, you come back again, square one. Okay. How come? You know? Because of the focus, the meditation. It means your heart's focus. Okay. Where your heart is, that's where your mind will go. Now, if you are conditioned by false bodily identification and your attraction is with this world, with your own will, naturally, because that is your conditioning, you're so much mesmerized and illusion where you give and try to find happiness, that will be the direction of your heart. But those individuals who have come to the point wherein enough, but how come I cannot stop? Okay. So the holy names changes everything. Simply by being with light, experiencing this purification, immediately they stop. And now they're in a direction of life. That's why you may wonder the difference between what is transcendental and living. You people pass by here. How come for these people almost how many years? Almost 4 decades. They're just there. They just chant Krishna, 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 Krishna. What are these people doing? Okay? And a lot of people pass away already here, died, left their body, and still those individuals who are in Madana, Mohana are chanting Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Okay? Have they hypnotized themselves? Or they're just trying to conjure, make believe of what happiness is? Okay, you. If I put you in a room, okay, I tell you to sing Lakisalayaw, Jeprox. Lakisalayaw, Jeprox. Okay? Can you do that for 40 years? Okay? For example, it's so hard to sit down here to listen, okay? Maharaj Pariksit sat down for 7 days and for 7 nights without drinking, without just settle down and listen to the nectarian, transcendental word of the sweetness of Lord Krishna, the source of happiness. And at the time, after 7 days, he leaves this world as a pure devotee, loving servant, Krishna. So that's the point. While we're here, we live the life of a devotee. What is a devotee then? Someone who follows the instruction or the formula that is given by Lord Krishna. You want God? Then what is the price? Your love, your heart. Because He owns everything. What can you give that God doesn't own? It belongs to God is self-sufficient. So there is something, or not something kasi matter in words. You have this treasure, okay? And what is that? Inseparable from you, your love. And now it's misdirected upon this world. So the price to connect our life with God is the teachings of Christianity. Love the Father with thy whole heart, thy whole mind and soul, thy whole being. Okay, second unto that, the effect will be loving others. So when Lord Jesus Christ, at the time, He's being crucified, being murdered by the demons, okay? Being pierced by lances, they made His life very miserable. But His consciousness unwavered. His love is unwavered, fixed upon the Father. Okay? Father, let this cup pass as you will. Into thy hands I commend my life, my whole being. And second unto that, He tells, Father, please forgive them for they don't know what they're doing. So you see, love, the difference between love and lust. Lust is when you are taking, okay? You see this material energy. You see a beautiful form, okay? Lust means you direct your love upon that form, not upon the person. So when you become purified from this conditioning, you're able to see the person. You're able to see that it will not give you real fulfillment when you use that body to satisfy your senses, because body is made out of a different energy, matter. So what will satisfy you is when you connect your love, your refuge upon the will of God. Let me do your will. So now you can see what separates us. Our own will. Okay? To do our own will, because you're not God, you're not self-sufficient. You just want to live alone. Okay? If you live alone, you're not self-sufficient, you're not the controller, then that's what you experience in this world. All alone, you alone, experiencing all the misery. So, the process is hearing the glories of the Supreme Person that is purifying, that cultivates the garden in our heart. So what happens is our meditation is with the garden of our heart that cannot be taken by anyone, not even by the mind or even the modes of material nature, because we cling to what is sweet. Okay. Kaya nga, sabi ni Jesus, what does a man profit? He gains the whole world and loses his soul, his love, his heart. Okay? So, it is a thought you have to keep in your mind. You ask this question, where am I heading? What will be the outcome of my life? Will I be desire-driven and dictated by my mind, by my own will? Will I be playing this role? I am alone and I sing this song. I can survive alone, do my own will. Anyway, that is a question you have to check within yourself. Can you really survive? Haribol Namaste.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prastayate.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prastayate.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna nahe anya. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna nahe anya.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Hare Krishna, Gopala Govinda Rama, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prasthayate